Good evening, everyone. What is going on? Happy Saturday. What is up? What is up? What is up? How's everybody doing on this Saturday? How's everybody's weekend going? Shout out to the folks in the chat. Make sure you all hit the like button, hit that subscribe, share this channel out with everybody you know. I would greatly appreciate it. What is going on, folks? How are we feeling? How are we feeling? Pretty sure a lot of you are pissed off about today's game. I'm sure you're all just not happy with how this game turned out. I understand. I get it. Tonight, today's game was a was a bad one, for lack of a better word. It was just atrocious. I know it was just bad, and I believe this was the 11th loss of the month. As I was looking at the schedule here in the month of June, right? Just to count this again. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, actually 12. They've lost 12 games this month. So it's been a terrible June, and it's not really, you can't really say the pitching. The pitching is it's not even the pitching, right? Even though unfortunately Clark Schmidt didn't, despite giving up 4 runs, I mean, he still had a pretty decent outing. He still went 6 innings, gave up 4 runs. He walked a couple, struck out 7. It just happened to be one of those bad starts for Clark Schmidt. It happens, but for the most part, he's been solid this season. And once again, the Yankees just couldn't get nothing going. The bats, right? I'm talking about the bats. The bats stunk it up. So the bats were just absolutely terrible. The offense has been an issue with the Yankees this month. And it's not just one player. It's overall as a team. This team is offensively has not been great. There might have been a couple of bright spots. Really, a couple of names that have been shining. Really, like Cody Bellinger and Jazz Chisholm Jr. I mean, those two guys have really been coming through. Dominguez has looked fine. Some of the other names like Goldschmidt, Judge, they've been on a bad slump. Volpe's batting average has kind of dipped again. I mean, I don't think this is going to last forever. But they need to break out of the slump. They're only a game ahead of the Tampa Bay Rays. Okay, so it's not like they have a safe lead right now. They have to, they got to start winning some games to start creating that lead. Teams left on base 6, runners in scoring position 0 for 5. That's just not Yankee baseball. That is not the bat. The bats did not do their jobs clearly, right? And me saying all this, I'm not saying that the season's over. I'm not crapping on this team. I'm not saying that this team is done for, but they need to break out of this slump, particularly once again with the bats. They need to play better. That's all there is to it. They have the capability. And, in this game of baseball, in the sport, it is a game of adjustments. You constantly have to make adjustments because other teams are also making their adjustments when they play against you. They have people watching you all year, all season, and they're doing their homework. They're doing, they're studying the Yankees, right? They study every team, right? Every team is going to study the other, but sometimes you just got to change your approach and figure out what needs to be the best course of action, right? So this is something that the Yankees bats need to do. I don't know what's going on with the offense, but a lot the performances of some of these players have dipped. You look at today's game. Goldschmidt went 1 for 4. Bellinger was 1 for 3. Judge was 0 for 3. Stanton was 0 for 4. Chisholm was 0 for 4. Volpe was 0 for 2. He had a couple of walks. Wells was 0 for 3. LeMahieu's 1 for 2. Dominguez was 0 for 3. So overall, the offense stunk big time. big freaking time. But again, I don't think this is a forever thing. I do believe that this team will bounce out of it, but it needs to happen sooner rather than later. But we'll see what happens with that. Now, Spencer Jones, as you all know, we talked about it. I talked about it a little bit yesterday. As you all know, he got promoted to AAA. And congratulations to Spencer Jones. He even hit a home run in his AAA debut. Now, there's a lot of questions when it comes to Spencer Jones and the roster, him getting promoted to AAA. What's going to happen now? Is he going to get called up in September? Is he going to, is this guy going to get traded in the offseason? I'll ask this question. Could there be a scenario where, is there a scenario where him and Dominguez could be on the same team? And there's a lot of rumors flying around that maybe Dominguez gets traded or Spencer Jones gets traded. There's a lot of mixed emotions. So I don't know. I'll let you all kind of debate that amongst yourselves. But as far as the roster goes, though, I mean the roster does need some changes, particularly with the bats. You're seeing people kind of going after Austin Wells, and I suppose they'd rather see let's say Ben Rice now. Ben Rice has been the player that some folks are talking about. Maybe he should be the one catching at the dish. He should be the one behind the dish, and folks are kind of done with Austin Wells. But there's a lot of question marks, right? There's a lot of question marks with this team. I'll put out the link to the open panel soon, right? I won't do it right away, but I'll put it out soon. So anybody who wants to come up and talk, let me know. I'll ask them questions, and y'all can answer. Okay. But let me say what's up to the chat. I haven't even said what's up to the chat, and I'm almost like 10 minutes into the chat. Welcome. What's up? First in the building. What is going on? Jonathan, how's it going? Katie, what's up? How's it going? What's up? Good to see you. We got Desiree in the chat. Who else? We got Stephen B. We got Joshua. What's up? Buckeye, what is going on? Jacob Frederick, what is going on? Sean Browning, what is going on? I mean, what's up, Jake? How's it going? I mean, I'm still going to remain positive. I'm going to remain positive because a lot of fans didn't really have faith in this team in the offseason. They wrote there are some fans out there that kind of wrote this team off. Just saying. We got Russ Morgan. What is up? He's joining us from X, actually. So shout out to Russ. He's saying Trey Jones loved him through college and good progression through, but make him centerpiece for third or pitcher or for third base or pitcher, re-sign Belly. Okay. So again, a lot of mixed emotions when it comes to some mixed emotions here about trading Jones and to get another piece back. Yeah, I don't know, man. I like Spencer Jones. I just feel like with Spencer Jones, I feel like if the Yankees wanted to trade him, they would have traded him last year. That's what I think. Reikia Channel says trade Wells, make Ben Rice starting catcher. Maybe, yeah. I mean, perhaps. Maybe shake things up a little bit. Maybe have Ben Rice start some more games. Wells hasn't, offensively speaking, he hasn't been playing well. So I mean, if you pull up his numbers, his stats, just trying to find his stats here. I mean, you look at the last. You know what? Let's just look at the last. Let's look at the last 15 games. Okay. Struck out 14 times, couple of walks, 9 RBIs, a homer. Scored 4 runs, 9 hits. In those 15 games, he's batting 184, on base percentage of 226, slugging of 306. Yeah, those are not great numbers. So they don't have enough good prospects to deal. The time is now with Judge's window. Well, they have good prospects. I mean, there's a couple of guys that they consider as untouchable, but I mean, listen, there's a couple of guys I would love to see come up. Me personally, I would love to see Spencer Jones come up. Does he get called up in September? Who knows? George Lombard Jr. is another guy that I'm sure I know that they value, but there's time there. He's not going to get called up just yet. I mean, he's probably a couple of years away. And yeah, the Yanks. Yeah, right now it's not even the entire team. Again, it's the bats, right? It's the offense that really has not been performing. The offense has not been playing well, and it's not. And as I was talking about Ben Rice, Li comes in. What's up, Li? He says the Yankees have to put Rice behind the plate. It might have to be a thing, dude. I like the way he called the game yesterday against Will Warren. Try to something out of the box, bring up Rodriguez from right. Are you talking about Jesus Rodriguez there, Jake? Is that who you're referring to? Yeah, Stroman pitching tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not so high on that. What up, Dev? But yeah, no, I would love to see Ben Rice catch behind the plate. Li, I know what you're referring to, but overall the offense has been bad. And there was games that the Yankees lost in whose absence, and the offense was bad. So explain that to me, man. And today it wasn't just one person; it was the whole entire lineup. The whole entire lineup was bad. So Jake, let me ask this question: How confident do we feel? Like, I'm not taking anything away from Jesus Rodriguez. I would love to see him come up, but how confident do we feel that he's just going to kill it at the major league level? And I'm not saying he's not going. I'm not saying he's going to suck or anything like that. But how sure can we be? Right? It's like there was a few times the Yankees had brought up Vivas. Right? He rode the bench. Fans were pissed, but he finally had some playing time in Jazz's absence because Jazz was injured. I mean, Vivas has potential. He has hope, but he didn't. He did not perform the way I'm sure a lot of fans expected. I'm just throwing that out there, right? I mean, Vivas. It's a small sample. I'm not criticizing him, but he didn't play as good as I'm sure some people, thought he was going to be, right? What I'm getting at is, sure, we could call these guys up. We could call these guys up, but how do we know? We also got to manage expectations when it comes to the prospects. Got to manage expectations, and that's my take on it. So I'm asking you. But and Jonathan, the answer to your question is yes. That I am doing an open panel tonight. Yes, I am doing an open panel. I'll drop the link here in a few minutes. I'll have you all come up, and whoever wants to come up, you don't have to be shy. But again, call up Rodriguez or Vivas. We desperately need a spark. But Vivas was up. He got some playing time. I mean, he didn't play well at the major league level. Again, I'm not saying that Vivas is a bad player. Yeah, he was putting up some numbers down there in the minors, but was he putting up those same numbers at the in the major league level. He wasn't. Again, he was up there. He was up with the team for about a month. It's a small sample size, but what I'm getting at is that fans expect instant results. That's what I'm getting at. So what are you saying, Jake? I see what you mean. I'm actually not super confident that he'll kill it at the major league level, but I don't necessarily think it'll hurt considering DJ hasn't been amazing and Peraza isn't good. Well, yeah, but again, what makes us think that Rodriguez is going to be is going to improve things though? I'm asking this question. How do we know? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not taking credit away from Jesus Rodriguez. I know Li added the fact that Rodriguez sucks defensively. I mean, the bat is good, sure. But again, how do we know that he's gonna kill it at the major league level? That like this is what I'm getting at. You got to manage expectations when you call up young players. There needs to be patience, and we know that a lot of Yankees fans, right? And it's not a disrespect, but a lot of Yankees fans don't have patience. They want instant gratification. So when these guys don't perform well, then what happens? Then it's just like, well, send this guy back down. This guy's a fluke. This guy's this guy's not a good player. So again, you got to give players time. You got to give players time to adjust. It's like with Dominguez. Dominguez got called up this season, and honestly, I think Dominguez looked great. One of the criticisms that he was getting is that he was weak from the right side of the plate, and as of late, he's been a lot better from the right side of the plate. He's been hitting lefty pitchers much better than compared to the beginning of the season. Russ is adding here, Wrights needs to catch more. He has more gap-to-gap approach. But Wells is the type of player that Boone loves, and Vivas does have the bat, speed, or approach to succeed at the MLB level. He just got to hitch in his swing. Well, you got to give guys like Vivas time. You got to give Vivas time. I mean, when he got it's like I keep saying, he got called up the first couple of times. Fans were pissed because he just rode the bench. You know what I mean? He was just warming up the bench. He didn't play. But he got his opportunity to play. Did he play as well as fans hoped? I'm going to ask again, did he look great at the major league level? No. Does he have the potential? Absolutely he does. He's shown that, right? In a small sample size. And just because he didn't play as well as some people have hoped, I'm not losing hope on him. It just means that, you go back down to the minors and you continue playing, you continue improving. Maybe one day you do get the call up. Maybe you do win a permanent position. Who knows? This is what I'm getting at. Okay. Bro, I like Chisholm playing second base. That's where he belongs. And I'd rather go for them to go out there and get a third baseman during the deadline. Who's that third baseman? Again, there's a few names out there. Some names have been thrown out there, right? I'm sure everybody has their wish list. Who the Yankees are going to target, who knows? Nobody really knows who the Yankees are going to target. Nobody really knows that answer. It's all a secret. Jake's saying, I agree with you. I guess there's no way of really knowing until you throw those guys into the fire. Well, yeah. Well, DJ, look, I know people don't like DJ. I understand. I get it. But DJ has another year with this team after the season. After 2026, he's done. Stanton's not going to go nowhere. Stanton's not going to go anywhere. And besides, the Marlins are going to start kicking in $10 million of his contract starting next season. And there's no way there's no way the Yankees are going to let that one go. So they're going to get money from the Marlins. Old Sarge, I feel like I need to do jumping jacks now. What's up, man? Long time no see. Said in that month, Vivas got no regular playing time, no regular spot in the lineup, and so another young player goes by the boards due to poor management. Yeah, but even if he got regular playing time, he was only there to fill in Jazz's spot, though. I mean, at some point, he was going to get sent back down. I would have loved to see him get more playing time, sure. But again, even if he did, was he going to perform to the level that people were expecting at the major league level? LI, you know what? That is a very good question. I don't know who's going to be available. Right now, there are still teams out there that are trying to compete. So I don't know who's going to be available. I have no idea, bro. I have no idea. But it's Suarez, and that's it, and we can outbid for him, and we can be outbid. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right on that. I mean, what's going to be the asking price for Suarez? I would love for the Yankees to actually go after Suarez. He's a solid third baseman and move Jazz back to second. You may not care, Li, but the Yankees do. So I understand your frustration. Go tell it to the Yankees, bro. If you got their phone number, go tell it to them. All right? I'm just saying. But I do like Suarez. He's the one guy that I've been thinking about. I mean, yeah, we'll never know, right? But again, it's even if he was we're talking about Vivas, right? Even if he was getting a lot of playing time, and he was getting more consistent playing time, how do we know that this guy was going to tear the ball off? You know, again, even if he was getting consistent playing time, you got to give him time to adjust. It's the same thing with Dominguez. The thing with Dominguez, there were fans criticizing his performance from the right side of the plate, and over time he's been gradually improving. IKF for third. I know. IKF for third. You know, I know the Yankees have been quote unquote linked to IKF. Do I want the Yankees to reunite with IKF? I don't know. You know, they've also been linked to Brian Hayes from the Pirates. Do I really want that guy? I don't know. JT's adding, shaking my head. This team really, really frustrates me, man. There's a common denominator here for the last few years, and they refuse to address, man. Who's the common denominator? Or what's the common denominator to you? So, yeah, I mean, I don't think the Yankees necessarily have poor leadership. I think that's you're answering Dev on that. I mean, look, listen, here I am going to go down, talk about Aaron Boone, right? And, you know, you guys don't really hear me trash Aaron Boone. Not really. I know he's, you know, not liked by a lot of fans. I totally get it. I understand. Is Boone the best manager in the world? No. Is he the worst? No. I think he's a good manager. I think if he was as bad as he was since the time he was hired to be the New York Yankees manager, if he was as bad as people make him out to be, this should be a fourth or fifth place team every single year. They should not be even smelling the postseason. They should have never been in the World Series. All right, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's just that's my thought process. Do I always agree with his decisions? No, I don't. I don't always agree with his decisions. It is questionable, but you know, that's he gets paid to manage the team. That's his job. That's a stressful job for me. I wouldn't. I'm good. I can't imagine the stress that, you know, into running the team and making the lineups. I mean, you know, there's a lot of decision making there. The Yankees' best move is so you want to stick with Peraza at shortstop, which I'm not disagreeing with. Defensively, I'm all for it. But again, I like Jazz at second base better personally. I'm not saying he's a bad third baseman, but I like Jazz at second way better. Yeah, Pasty was a trash game. Ryan McMahon from the Rockies. They need a righty bat. I think it's interesting that with all these different rosters that Boone and Cashman's had, well, lack of urgency, errors, lack of fundamentals. Look, I think that this season, when it comes to, I know today's game was pretty atrocious, right? When it especially when it came to the fundamentals, but I do believe that this team defensively has been better where they were last year. I mean, especially with the outfield. That at least that's my take on it. The pitching has been fine. The pitching has been fine. The pitching was bad in the month of April, but they made adjustments to that, and the pitching has been looking a lot better. The intentional fortitude to light a fire under the player's backside. He does defend the players. I mean, the players love him. Despite what we think about Aaron Boone, the players love him. The players love him. JT's adding, I personally think it's something within analytics department that drive them far fetched on roster construction, less focused on just freaking pure baseball. Yeah, I mean, the thing is with analytics, it's just going to be part of the game. It's just the way it's just the way it is. JT is also adding, I agree, analytics is necessary, but not to the point that it completely takes over, and as it shouldn't. What's up, Daniel Berry? What's going on, dude? When analytics starts to handcuff the front office and dugout, there's an issue. Well, analytics shouldn't be everything. It should be a tool, but I don't think it should be everything. So that's what I think. And I don't know how this team uses analytics. I don't know what tools they use. I don't know what they see as importance, because every team, I think, uses analytics differently. And I couldn't tell you how the Yankees use it. I don't know. I'm not in the room with those guys, right? All I could really do is just use the eye test and seeing what we're all seeing from the game, and everybody sees something different. Everybody perceives things differently when they're watching the games. And Pacey's adding, here's the thing: slump now and get it over with. Dodgers will have a slump as well. Not too worried. July's coming, and then the break. Cash will make whatever moves he can. Well, hopefully he makes the good moves. Hopefully he makes the good moves. The bullpen is definitely the one. Like, for me, that's number one priority. You want to know what I think? I think he's going to target the bullpen, because every year the bullpen is something that he will address. I highly doubt he will get a starting pitcher. I do not think he will get a starting pitcher. A bat. They absolutely have to look into a bat, but who's that bat that they're looking at? Who's the name? Yo, what up, Theo? YOLO's adding here, if they don't get a third baseman, what do you think of a guy like Nick Gonzalez for second? Well, what are his numbers? Okay, plays for the Pirates, second base, a right-handed bat. 88 bats so far, 25 hits, nine runs. He's got 3 home runs, batting average 384, OPS of 792. Played in only 23 games. I mean, could he be an option? The Yankees don't target a third baseman. Could they go after a guy like him? He could be a possibility. I mean, it's a possibility. Again, I don't know if the Yankees are targeting somebody like him. I truly don't know. But I'm always curious to know like what names they're looking at and who's going to be available. And truthfully, we still don't really know who's going to be available. I mean, there's a few names that have been floating around, but me personally, I don't know if I want the Yankees to reunite with IKF, even though there are some Yankee fans that are asking for it, despite fans crapping on IKF a couple of years ago when he was on the team. The Savant page. Yeah. I haven't looked at his Savant, but I'm going to look at his contract because I want to see what his contract looks like, because we know Brian Cashman loves controllable years. So yeah, he's still in his pre-arb. So he's in pre-arb this season, pre-arb next season, and his first year of arbitration begins in 2027. He would come on the cheap, 26 years old, but what would they have to give up is the question. Yeah, well, sometimes, what, Sean? Sometimes the players need to step up, man. They're getting paid to do a job. They know the assignment. They know what needs to be done. I don't know if today's game was just a fluke, or just the Athletics just had the Yankees number, but I don't know. But they need to do better. It's as simple as that. This team needs to snap out of it. Took shots at Boone, judging Yankees for being soft and not having leadership in this team. Well, again, I'm not trying to go down the rabbit hole, but they had when Joe Girardi was on this team, he was a little bit more, I guess you could say, aggressive. I don't know. He was, maybe try to light a fire under players' asses, but eventually, I guess there must have been an issue with him and upper management. I mean, he got let go, and now there's fans saying that they want Girardi back, and it's strictly because the World Series back in 2009, and that was great and all, right? And again, I'm not trying to go down the rabbit hole of the past, because I'm looking right now, the present and the future. Yeah, he won the World Series in 2009, but did he win another World Series after that? From 10 to 17, when he was 2010 to 2017, did he win another World Series? No, he didn't. The team, there was a few years where they didn't make the postseason, and they didn't sniff the World Series. So again, yeah, this is what I'm saying. He won a World Series. He won a World Series in 2009, but from 10 to 17, nothing. And there was a couple of those years where they didn't make it to the postseason at all. Those are some bad years too. No link yet there, Stephen B. No link yet. I'll drop it down here. I didn't realize I was 35 minutes into the live stream. Holy crap, this time goes by fast when you're having a fun time. YOLO says Gary was the reason Joe left, and where's Gary? Well, more like I don't think Joe left. I think they let him go. The Yankees let him go. Well, Gary's nowhere to be found, and you want to know something? I was never sold on Gary Sanchez. Other people were. I wasn't. Why can't Boone be honest in his post game? Yasin, honestly, yeah, he gives a lot of vague answers. But as far as honesty goes, I mean, the thing is, when you're talking to the New York media, you don't want to necessarily throw guys under the bus. I'm sure he's aware. I'm sure he's not blind, right? I know some of the things he says you kind of question, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to give. He doesn't want to throw guys under the bus or make the team look or say bad things about the squad or about his roster. It's just going to give ammunition to the New York media. And New York media, as you know, is very unforgiving. Girardi did have bad teams. We had old players that were horrible, and he still finished above 500. Well, Aaron Boone didn't exactly. I don't think he had the best of teams when he took over. Not really. Not to the level that Girardi had in 09. Not to the level that Torrey had during the dynasty years. But he somehow still managed to get this team into the postseason, still managed to get this team with a winning record. I mean, 2023 sucked. Okay. Is that a fluke? Was that a mistake? That's what I'd like to know. So, is he a fluke manager? I really want to know. I want to know what you all think. Katie's adding, hopefully get Oswald Cabrera back in the lineup. He could be a spark. I don't know. He'll provide a spark, but I'm saying I don't know because I don't know if Cabrera is going to be back this season. I don't know. He had a pretty bad injury. That was a disgusting injury. Why do I think the Yankees slumped from June to July under Boone? Well, I wish I had an answer. I think what it boils down to is, here's the thing. Baseball is a long season. I suppose if the Yankees are going to hit a slump, I'd rather them hit it now rather than August or September when it's really crunch time, and this team goes into when this team is getting ready to get into the postseason. They better have their P's and Q's, or they better be on their P's and Q's. They better have their heads straight. Everything better be good when they get into the postseason. I think with the season being as long as it is, what's happening is I feel like a lot of times teams are watching, right? Other teams are watching the Yankees. They're making their adjustments. I don't know if the Yankees are necessarily making their adjustments. Sometimes I do feel as though their approach to the plate or approach to the game could be is the same, and they're not making adjustments, and other teams are. I also think that there's also teams that are that are doing they're doing their homework. And the Yankees need to be a better team when it comes to adjustments. That's what I think. But let me put the link to the chat. We're probably about 40 minutes in. Well, tomorrow's a punt game since Stroman's pitching, which I don't agree with Stroman pitching because of the ALEs. Well, I mean, unfortunately, Yarborough's hurt. Luis Hill is still recovering. Hopefully, we see Luis Hill sooner rather than later. Right, but I mean, who else is going to pitch? Like, who do you want pitching? I suppose Rodon could pitch tomorrow, but I'd rather have But Rodon's probably going to pitch on Monday when they fly out, when they have a 4-game set against Toronto. So I'd rather him start the series, but I know we're not expecting big things from the Blue Jays or not from the Blue Jays, but from Marcus Stroman. But you would hope he has a good outing. I'm not expecting him to go 6 or 7 innings, but I mean, if he could give you 3 or 4 innings. Schlittler pitched on Thursday. That's why he's not pitching, or else maybe they would have called him up. Aside from Goldie, Belly, and Judge, when they're not slumping, who do they have? I mean, Jazz has actually been looking a lot better since he came back from injury. Jazz has been looking a lot better since from injury. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and put the link. So anybody who wants to come up, feel free to come up. I'm gonna ask a few questions, and I want to hear your answers. Right. So anybody who wants to come up, feel free to come up. And I want to know what you all are thinking. And then we'll go from there. We'll have a little fun. So I already got somebody waiting in the back already. So they're immediately here. So you ready to go there, Jonathan? You gave me a thumbs up. Sweet. Let me make some changes here. Oh, that's one. Hello. How's it going? What's going on?
Good. This game, I was with Joe a lot of the times.
Sure.
So I don't know why the Yankees are not. They don't seem to work the pitcher like they used to, and that has been one thing ever since really the Boone has been the manager. That is one thing they haven't done very well, is working the pitcher. Sometimes they swing early in the count. You see, this is very different than the Yankees that used to be around 15 years ago. You remember when when we were working with Pedro? Pedro, the Yankees used to work with him and work him until they got the bullpen. That was the only way you're going to beat a guy like Pedro.
Yeah, but you know what? Even during that time, Pedro was still kicking their ass.
I know, but
yeah, but Pedro again during that time. Once again, it was one of. I don't want to go back to the past too much, but Pedro, you bring up Pedro Martinez. Yankees bats during that time, they struggled mightily against him.
Yes.
So
the only way you would beat the Red Sox in a Pedro game is to just beat the bullpen. That's one reason why they won in 2003 the World Series. In the last game, Grady Little stuck with Pedro even after 110 pitches. If he went to the bullpen, that game, the Yankees would probably have lost that game.
They almost did lose that game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the mistake was that he left Pedro in the game.
That's exactly what I said.
Right. So if he didn't leave Pedro in the game, they probably would have won. The Red Sox could have won that game.
Yeah.
Even with the bullpen. So, but it's not always easy. And as far as what the Yankees and the bats, especially as of recent, this month, I don't know what's going on.
Well, one thing, Judge, I've seen about Judge specifically, I've seen him expand his zone, and leaning too forward when he's swinging at outside pitches. He's not waiting for the ball to come with him. He's expanding his zone too much. He's swinging at his ball closest to his feet rather than I think Judge has put too much pressure on himself, and he had so much success early on. He wanted to continue that success, and that by having a different mindset, he's inadvertently struggled.
Do you think that Judge is struggling because he got benched that one game?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe
What is Judge's weakness? I mean, you say, what are pitchers doing to him? Because I said that, teams are always making their adjustments. They're doing their homework.
Judge's weakness is balls low and away.
What's the pitch that he's striking out a lot on? That he's doing a lot of swing and misses.
Low and away.
What pitch specifically?
I don't know the specific pitch. Is it a slider or?
Yeah, so a slider. That's it. Every pitcher is doing this to him, whether it's good or bad. Because if you could throw that every time, it doesn't matter who the pitcher is. If you throw this guy a slider and away, he's gonna swing at it. That's his biggest weakness.
And that's the one thing that he wasn't doing for the first 2 months of the season. He was laying off that pitch and taking his walks.
He might be pressing too much at the plate right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he might be pressing. It was great to see him hitting 400 for like the first couple of months.
400 was on.
So, go ahead. You were going to say something.
400 was always going to be an unrealistic goal for the year.
Right. But he's also, in past years, we all know Judge in the month of April. Has he played well in the month of April in past years?
Only last year.
I mean, last year he was bad. I mean, he kind of starts off a little slow, but then he picks it up. But this season was a complete opposite. He's hit a slump. And, I know there are people who are saying, when Judge goes, everybody else goes. But maybe in past that was true. But I feel like right now there's a couple of guys that are stepping up.
Well, even last year, there were times when Judge had struggled and Soto picked up the team. And that's one thing the Yankees do miss in Soto. And I don't want to bring up last year, but they do miss his presence and the fact that pitchers are much less, this year specifically, they're much less worried about what's behind Judge because of Soto. If a guy like Bellinger can start to hit with power, get on base, then maybe that makes Judge's pitch selection a little bit easier for him.
What's up, Sco? What's up, Evan? What's going on?
Because pitchers will start to say, maybe I don't want to pitch to Bellinger. But obviously, it would be nice to have another bat behind Judge that a pitcher would be a little bit of concern.
So you bring up Bellinger. Have you looked at Bellinger's numbers in the let's just call it over the last month? You know what his numbers are in the last 30 games?
I'll look at them.
I could tell you them right now.
Okay, tell it to me.
Okay. So last 30 games. Okay, so keep in mind his batting average right now is at 264. Do you remember his batting average being below 200?
Yes.
Okay. So he's at 264 right now. Okay. Last 30 games, 31 hits. He scored 11 runs, couple of home runs, 10 RBIs, walked 9 times, struck out 12, had 4 stolen bases. In that span, he had a slash line of 265 batting average, 320 on base percentage, and a slugging of 402.
Yeah. His last 7 games had been even better.
Okay. I'll tell you those numbers right now. You want to look at his last 7 games, 29 at bats, 11 hits, couple of RBIs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, a stolen base, batting average 379, on base percentage 400, a slugging of 448. Tell me what you think, because Judge may be slumping right now, but Bellinger's been stepping up.
Yeah, I like him batting behind Judge.
Batting third?
Batting behind Judge, yes. I think he should bat behind Judge.
I think I like Judge batting third, and I like Bellinger batting fourth.
As I said,
Okay,
behind Judge.
Judge, yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's third or fourth. I like.
Well, no. So I don't like Judge batting second. Period. I don't like Judge batting second. Period. I was open to the idea, but I don't like Judge batting second. I think he belongs in 3-hole. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Regardless of the lineup, which should have been dealt with in spring training,
Mm-hmm.
Bellinger should bat behind Judge.
As long as Judge is third and Bellinger's fourth, I'm cool.
Well,
Give me that all day.
Email Boone and say, I'm cool with the lineup as long as Bellinger's Judge and Bellinger are third and fourth.
Hey, Susan, what's going on? Brooklyn's in the house. She says the Rays beat the Orioles. Well, looks like now I think they're tied for first place because I know they were a game behind. Oh, boy.
Well, the Yankees need to really step up their game. They've lost a bunch of games this year that they should have won, and they haven't had the clutch hits that they needed to.
Well, hopefully they bounce out of it. I don't think this streak is going to necessarily last forever. I don't think it's going to last forever. But
how about this? With the trade deadline in a month, it's about less than 5 weeks.
Sure.
What do you think is the most urgent needs for the team, and what would you trade?
I mean, that's a conversation. Well, I think the bullpen is definitely going to be the most important thing. They need to address the bullpen. The bullpen's been fine, but there needs to be improvement. And I think that's the number one thing that they need to address. As I said, I don't think they're going to address starting pitching. And I do think that they'll go after a bat. Who they're going to go after? I don't know. Who are they going to trade? I wish I knew, man. I wish I was in the room with those guys. I don't know, but one thing's for sure. I mean, as of right now, I talked about Spencer Jones, which I want to ask you a question about this. Spencer Jones, he got promoted to AAA. Seems like he's an untouchable because a lot of fans are saying that he could get traded or they could use him in a trade. But you're saying no. Okay, so you're saying no, but I'm just saying because Dominguez is on the team now. There's speculation. Spencer Jones, and are they going to trade him or are they going to trade Dominguez? There's all these question marks. So let me ask you a question about Spencer Jones getting promoted, right? We're not, we're kind of midway through the season. Spencer Jones getting promoted to AAA, I think rightfully deserved. Do you think that he does get called up in September when they expand the roster?
I do.
You do? Okay.
I do.
Number two, do you see him being on this Yankees team come next season?
Yes.
You do? Okay. Do you see him playing once?
Unless, as I said, the only player I would trade Spencer Jones right now is Paul Skeens.
Well, I think it's going to take a lot more than Jones to get.
I know. I know. But if we can get Paul Skeens in a trade and it will give up Spencer Jones, then I'm making that trade. If I'm trading someone who's going to retire next year and they want Spencer Jones, I'm not trading Jones.
Yeah, I feel as though if the Yankees really wanted to trade Jones, they would have done so for Corbin Burns last year. They would have done so for Dylan Cease, which I will say till this day, I am so happy that they haven't done that because Corbin Burns, well, we see where he is. Dylan Cease is a good pitcher, but I don't. To me, in my opinion, and I think Dylan Cease is a good pitcher, but me personally, I wasn't willing to give up Jones for him. Me personally,
and understand another thing: the Yankees. Everybody who trades with the Yankees wants the Yankees pitching. So there are pitchers that unfortunately hurt this year, such as Lalane, who could be an option for next year, and Legrand.
Yeah, Legrand. Yep.
Yeah. So there are pitchers available starting next year that could potentially be starting pitchers, and it adds the benefit of lowering the payroll, because when you have a rookie starting pitcher, that's one goal of Hal Steinbrenner, is to lower the payroll. And the only way to lower the payroll is to develop your own prospects. There's
Okay.
no other way to lower the payroll.
I totally agree with that. And yeah, that is Hal's goal. He's been talking about that for quite some time now.
So
But
that is one thing you have to consider when making trade suggestions.
yeah, and the other thing too is, if we're going to develop prospects, if that's the game plan, if it's going to be prospects being played on this team, fans also got to manage, got to be patient with that. So, but let me bring up real quick. I got Stephen B waiting in the back, so I do want to bring him up. You ready to come up, dude? He says he's good. All right. What up, man? How's
Oil
life?
leaking. Second oil tank this week was leaking that we have to replace next week.
Oh boy. All right. So first, let me get your thoughts on the game, and then let me, just to, we'll ask a question to you. As far as deadline goes, I mean, what do you think the Yankees should target? Is there any names that you have in mind? And and Jonathan, I'll ask you the same question. Like, is there any names that you have in mind? But go ahead, Stephen B.
For deadline, we should need a third baseman. I can't stand having Jazz at third anymore. The analytics say he's a negative 25% for third baseman versus a plus 25 at second. I'm sorry, you can't play DJ at second when the defense is that bad. And be honest with you, I mean, for third baseman, there's not a lot of slim picking. There's not really an option. So maybe, I mean, the Pirates third baseman is available, but I'm not really thrilled with that option. I don't really see an IFKF at third, even though this is the best position. And I don't want Nolan because that contract is bad, and I don't want that. And I don't think realistically Donovan's a there, so there's really not an option right there.
Right.
So and Suarez for the D-backs is out for a little bit, but so I don't know if you want to try bringing up maybe Rodriguez or let Peraza play. I don't think Vivas is the answer at third. He's a left-handed. I mean, there's really not an option out there for that. And I would say probably bullpen and maybe a starter. I don't think it's all the pitching's gonna be. As far as today's game, Pats just didn't come up and play, and the defense is not good.
Okay. Now, when it comes to Spencer Jones, he got promoted to AAA. So, same question I asked to Jonathan: do you see him being called up when they expand the roster?
I do actually. I think he's going to be up here. He's going to need to be protected for next year. I think they invested a lot in him, and I think they don't want to lose him, especially being a first-round pick, and could have been a number one pick if you hadn't been injured. And I do think we'll see a Dominguez and Jones full-time thing by 2027. I think Bellinger opts in to play center next year. And I think it'll be like a platoon for those two until the year after.
Okay, so do both of you gentlemen see?
I agree with that.
Yeah, do you gentlemen both see that would see Jones and Dominguez playing together?
Yes, but
Yeah,
but if Bellinger opts in, I see him moving to first base and Jones and Dominguez in the outfield with Judge.
So then, with that being said, would Bellinger opts in? And I think he's going to. Let's be honest. I mean, I think he's going to. I don't think he's going to get a better deal if he opts out, not with the money he's getting paid. Now, with that being said, Bellinger could opt back in. You could put him at first base along with Ben Rice, and Ben Rice could also catch. Right, so there's also that scenario, and then there's times where players could be benched, and Bellinger could go to the outfield. I mean, Yankees like versatility. they do like the versatility on their team. You know that they like guys who could play multiple positions. So because I do see a scenario where Dominguez and Jones play together. Lou's saying he sees Dominguez being traded, but I don't know. They spent a lot of money on him during the IFA. I mean, that guy was what, $5 million. I mean, I'm not saying he isn't tradable, but I don't see him getting traded.
Can I give you another option for third base and
Sure.
a possible? I could see a scenario where the Yankees trade McMahon and Bird to the Rockies. That would get third and a pitcher.
But I don't mind McMahon, but he's a lefty bat, right?
Well, the lefty bat is good for the Yankee Stadium. So
it is good for the Yankee. It is good for Yankee Stadium, but they have too many lefty bats right now.
I understand, but
that's my issue.
I think one way to get Bird, and that's another name. And I don't think we would get I think McMahon is out.
And I like Jake Bird. I would love to see Jake Bird. That's a name that I've been that I want the Yankees to go after. I saw that guy pitch live.
Well, you're what, 15 minutes from the stadium?
Nah, it's 2025, but I saw him pitch. And I'll tell you what, I like him. I like Jake Bird. The guy throws some straight heat. And the Yankees need somebody like that in their.
Don't be surprised if a trade like that happens with Bird and McMahon. I definitely could see it. I know they want more righties in the lineup, but the Yankee Stadium is also made for lefties. So,
but I got too many lefties though. That's the problem.
Well, then
I mean, not a problem, but it's just they need a righty bat. They need a right. In my opinion,
what righty bat do you say?
Ideally, I would love for the Yankees to go after Suarez. Are they going to be able to get him?
Suarez is injured.
Still?
And if he,
I know how long is he out for?
I'm not sure, but the only thing I actually thought of, if we're gonna trade for a bat, why don't we try one of our lefty bats for a lefty bat? That way, it's not really adding worse for a righty bat. Like you trade a left-handed bat. If you do go for a McMahon, you have to give up a left-handed bat for in a current lineup to be able to balance the lineup better. That's the only thing I could think of in a trade scenario.
But what names are you thinking of? Give me some names, because I feel like this trade deadline, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of options because there's teams that are still competing right now.
There might be another option, but this is an outfield. If you want a righty bat, they might want to call up a guy like Peraza to hit. He's a righty bat. He can play outfield.
He plays all left, center, and right, and he could give everyone a day off.
Yeah. So he might be.
They already have a bit of a logjam in the outfield, though. I mean, right now they're trying to get as many bats as.
What if you sell high-end Grisham, because he's going to walk away anyway to get some capital to be able to pull off a bigger trade?
That's a possible scenario. Hold on. So that's a possible scenario. You could trade Grisham, but I think the Yankees really value his defense. His defense is incredible out there. I mean, he's making, again, I'm not saying he's the only player that makes those diving plays, but he's saved the team's asses a few times this season. I don't see if they're going to trade Grisham, get something of value back, but who is it? That's what I want to know. And
that's something that we'll have to see in next month.
Yeah, I mean, the deadline is here.
I think this trade deadline will be there will be trades announced very fast, one after the other, especially on the deadline, and an hour after the deadline. It's going to be coming round and round like I don't know what's going to be like, but it's going to be fast.
Yeah, Yasin is asking, what about a trade for Willie Castro and Duran from the Twins?
That's going to be a big haul. Might have to trade the mania.
I don't see the Yankees trading a lot from the farm, and the Yankees. Remember another thing: the Yankees made a lot of trades in the last 2 years, and they lost a lot of prospects in the Rule 5 draft. So their farm system is not that strong it's not as strong as it was 2 years ago.
Well, wait a second. So, but they lost a lot of pitching. I know that, and I feel like
I
I feel like what's up?
what I actually think is a lot of you said our farms went down. Actually, most of it actually graduated, and we did trade some pitchers, but if
They made up through the draft.
Yeah, last year's draft, we've seen 2 pitchers, and look at Schittler and AAA now.
Mm-hmm.
He's at Cam. He was last year. He was that. Yeah.
Slitler is the pitcher I do not want to trade. I want to call him up in August.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Most of our we have a lot of high end talent. It's just low A and high A. It's going to take a while, like a year. But the Yankee farm system is looking a lot better, and we're developing players. Look how many catchers are in the major leagues right now that we developed.
Yeah. Yankees develop catchers like probably better than any other team.
Yeah, I don't know, and you know what? The catcher situation is very, very interesting. I will say, which you know what? I want to talk about the catcher situation with you guys, right? What do you guys think? Are either one of you? Well, you know what? I'll ask this question, and whichever one of you want to start. How do you all feel about Austin Wells? Let's start.
I think he's an okay catcher. I'm not sure if he's a permanent catcher. I haven't seen. I need to see more consistency from him to be a permanent catcher. I think the Yankees have better options in the minor leagues.
What about Ben Rice?
Ben Rice, I'm not a catcher. I think Escara would be a better defensive catcher than both of them. And I think the guy they have in the minors, the top catcher in the minors, I think he could possibly be the long-term catcher in the future.
And who's that?
Let me see his
you know what? I'll tell you what. I would love to see Escara play some more games. I would love to see him get some more playing time.
Flores. His name is Rafael Flores.
Oh, Rafael Flores? Okay.
I think he could be the permanent catcher long out of everybody that the Yankees have in their system.
I mean, he could be somebody, but as of right now, I would love to see.
Right now,
Ben Rice.
Right now, it's too early for a guy like Flores. But next year, I think. Look, I never wanted them to trade Narvaez. Narvaez, they just gave away for nothing to the Red Sox, and he's now flourishing. So I think the same thing could happen with Flores.
Well, I don't know what the catching situation is going to look like for the Yankees. That's a very unique position right now because they have a lot of guys. And next time when I invite Rob on, because I had Rob on a few months ago, we were talking prospects, and that was something I told him. I said, I would love to talk about the catcher position, but would you guys be opposed to seeing Ben Rice catch more at the dish?
More, yes. Not. Yeah. I would like to see him more, but I don't know if he's a permanent catcher. But if he's a replacement behind for a game to give Wells a day off and Escara a day off, yeah. A third catcher, yeah. To get him into the lineup instead of DHing or first base, yes. But not. He's basically the second option.
Yeah, and his natural, Merck, he is in his natural position is catcher. I think he called a good game yesterday. Honestly, I would love to see him more. I would love to see him more. I mean, since the Yankees have him, the Yankees, I know, they got the guy. He could play first base. He could play catcher. He could be a DH. So I mean, he does provide some sort of like versatility. I would like to see him play some more games. Again, it gives the Yankees some more options, and I would like to see him pitch.
Remember another thing. A guy. Remember, Peraza started out at second base, and he was a great catcher. So there could be other options in the minor leagues that we're not thinking about.
Well, they're being thought about as far as what their future looks like. We don't know. That's the thing. They're not going to be able to keep all these guys. I mean, they have a lot of catchers, so they're not going to be able to keep all of them. What they're going to do with that position, again, it's a foregone. I wish I was in the room with those guys and got to sit down or be a fly in the room to hear what they're talking about, because I'm curious to see what catcher position is going to look like here in the next couple of years.
There's another catcher that the Yankees signed 2 years ago. His name is Peraza. He's in Single A right now. They signed him for $50,000, and he's already supposed to be one of the best defensive catchers and he's currently the 11th ranked prospect.
Is that one of your Huskies there, Stephen B?
Yeah, this is my Lakota.
Dakota? Oh.
Sorry.
That's another name to think about.
Where is he playing right now?
He's in Single A.
Well,
he's only 19.
Okay. Well, it's going to be a little while, but I'm talking about right now, though. I'm talking about right now.
NFB.
Yeah.
I would say, for my opinion on Wells, I think he's okay to be an everyday catcher right now. You got to think about it this way: we got spoiled for Posada, Yogi, Munson, and everything.
We got the very big gap.
I know. No, I'm just.
Munson.
I'm just trying to. My point was being that we got spoiled in the '90s with that. Catchers normally is in a power position or a good offensive position. And yes, Wells has the potential to be really like an all-star. It's his second year, and last year he was splitting between Trevino and him. Were splitting evenly time. Then he ran with it, and then he ran in the playoffs. He has a lot of miles in that legs from last year. It's the second year. Pitchers have figured him out. He's making adjustments, but his defensively, he's calling the great games. A lot of the pitchers really love to throw with them. I think he needs more time off, which would be a good time to play Ben Rice and JC. I think maybe play Wells 5 games a week and play the other 2, split it between the 2.
So, you bring up an important point there, Stephen B, because Wells, you know what, despite his bat not being so great, his bat's been pretty piss poor. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to bash the guy. It's not like I want this guy to fail. I don't think any of us want the players to fail. We just want them to play better. But defend behind the dish, actually, yeah, he does call a good game. Maybe he's not the best defender in the world. Every once in a while, he's able to throw out a base runner. Other teams are able to take advantage of running on him. I mean, that's kind of the unfortunate thing right now with the catching that the Yankees have. Other teams know that they can run on him, so they take advantage of that. But he does call a good game. I'll give him that. I mean, Carlos Rodon raved about him. When a couple years ago when Rodon was rehabbing, when he was playing his rehab games, he said he loved pitching. He loved pitching to Austin Wells, and I think that dynamic right there, I don't think you should break that up. I know Wells' bat isn't great, but they have good chemistry. Just like I think JC Escarra, he should be catching for freaking Will Warren every single game. I don't care. Unless if there's an injury, God forbid. JC Escarra should be catching for Will Warren every single time. It shouldn't even be a question. I get sometimes Wells might be catching for Warren, but sometimes I feel like it's more or less like, hey, you know what? Sometimes you need that because you want to know that these guys can communicate. After all, they're teammates. They're going to play together. So you want to know that these guys, if Wells has to catch for Escar or for Warren, that they could play well together. You have to have that, man, because after all, once again, they are teammates, and you got to know that JC Escarra can catch for a guy like Rodon. So, sometimes those types of lineups, if Rodon, or if Escarra is catching for Rodon, and Wells is catching for Warren, so you need to know that these guys can cooperate with one another and play together and be on the same page. Because again, some pitchers, they like to call their own game. There's a couple of guys that are out there in which you can't blame them. They know their stuff, but I feel because the catcher pitcher relationship is important. It's very important to the game.
Like last year with Cole and Trevino, those two hit it off really well, and then
and Cole has no problems pitching to Wells.
Yeah,
I think we can agree on that.
So what do you think about Stroman coming back tomorrow?
I'm not looking forward to that, honestly. He got torched up in Double-A. If he can at least hit his command, hit the spots, maybe we have a shot.
Yeah, Red Sox won 15-1
against who?
Toronto.
Ooh,
wow
is right. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that kind of score, but okay. Thanks for sharing that information. So, JC Escarra. So speaking of Escarra, he's going to be back tomorrow. He's supposed to be back. What's up, Joseph? How's it going, man? He's supposed to be back tomorrow, actually. So you wonder if he'll be the one catching for Stroman tomorrow and give Wells a break.
He probably should.
Yeah,
maybe it could be Rice too. I mean,
could be.
You
Rice.
want to get, but JC, he is a great backup catcher. I mean, he has really good patience on that, and his defense is not that far off from Wells. But I kind of want to see if we can bring up Rodriguez to see if he can play third base and maybe see a game of bring him up to actually play a little bit. Can't hurt right at this moment.
Yeah, but again, I think I like Rodriguez, but it was like kind of what I was talking about with the whole thing of like with Vivas.
I know what you're saying, NFE, but sometimes what we have up here sometimes is better off trying to. If we've seen DJ, I mean, he's either hit or miss, and if you put Jazz at second, Rodriguez has played third a lot recently in AAA. Mm-hmm. His defense isn't bad. Why not try it and see maybe we got something hit lightning in a bottle?
They could try it. Is that something that they're going to do? I don't.
I mean, he's already on the 40-man roster. There's no roster moves really to be made. Just have to bring someone down and bring them up.
Yeah, I think the only way he comes up is if there's like some sort of like major injury and they got to call him up in a pinch.
This team had the same flaws as last year.
It is. So,
what do you think the flaws are?
I think there might be to some degree, there might be some flaws. I agree with that, Joseph. But one thing is for sure, I think, in my opinion, I know they still have their defensive, moments where they don't play well defensively. But I think defensively, they're a lot better than where they were last year.
Yeah, and losing Cabrera didn't help.
Nope.
Losing Cabrera didn't help, and there's not really anybody to blame there. That was just a freak injury.
Yeah, I was on vacation and I only saw that on replay.
It was pretty gruesome. I know I'm not trying to go too much off topic, but I've seen enough combat sports and fights to see legs getting broken on live TV, and it is disgusting. But I saw how his ankle got fractured, and that was nasty. That was nasty. That was gross. But
it seemed like ever since the Yankees' downfall this season started with his injury, really. Judge started to play worse. A lot of players started to struggle after his injury.
I don't know about that. I feel like they were still playing well in his absence. I don't know if I quite agree with that. I think they started to really. I think where the offense started to really not shine, if we're being honest, because he got hurt in that Seattle series, right? So
That
they
was
still,
around May 15th, I think.
right. So May 5th, so like May whatever, yeah. Well, they had a day off on May 15th, so it was one of those
May
games
4th,
where May
no, May 14th.
14th or
It had
13th.
to be between the 13th and the 18th because I know that date because I was away during
Right.
that time. And
So, but after that Seattle series, they came back to New York. They played the Mets. They beat the Mets 2 out of 3. They swept the Rangers. They won 2 out of 3 against the Rockies. They swept the Angels, and then they lost 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. To close out the month of May, even though the June 1st was the final game. So it's not like the Yankees were playing worse in his absence. I mean, they were still playing fine. And after that Texas series, they had that that 9-game series on the road and still played pretty well there. And then after that, they beat the Guardians 2 out of 3. Where it kind of started, if anything, I mean, that first Red Sox series at the stadium just wasn't great. And then they ended up sweeping the Royals. But that final game of the Royals, they won that game 1-0. And I think I would say after that, that's when the offense started to go downhill.
the Yankees do have another first base option, assuming both Goldschmidt and Bellinger do not return, and that's TJ Rumfield.
I mean, they do have Rumfield, but I don't know what the future is for TJ Rumfield. I like Rumfield. Don't get me wrong. I do like Rumfield, but what is the future for him? I don't know. I don't know what the future is for him.
That's the question, because if he doesn't have a future with the Yankees, do you see him possibly in a trade? Because he has value.
I absolutely see him as part of a trade, but are the Yankees? I don't know what the Yankees plan on doing with him. And what's up, Bill? I saw you pop into the chat. There was a question from Russ Morgan. I wanted to answer that question. It was, why he was asking me why I wanted to see why I would want the Yankees to get Eugenio Suarez. And honestly, Eugenio Suarez, his defense at third base, I think would be an upgrade, and you can move Jazz back over to second, and I think you would get a good bat out of Eugenio Suarez. His bat's going to be better than DJ's. It's going to be better than Peraza. Would you guys agree with that?
Probably.
Defensively,
yeah.
Hitting wise is a huge upgrade, and defensively, I think Peraza is better, but you take a complete player over Peraza at this point.
Yeah, and Eugenio Suarez, he's also going to be a rental too. I mean, he's also a guy that he is going to be available in free agency.
I mean, another question is, can Jesus Rodriguez be a contributor?
As of right now, I'm going to say in the short-term plan in this season, I don't know that he's going to be the difference maker, right? I mean, yes, he's tearing the ball off down there in the minors, right? But so was Vivas. If Vivas got some playing time while he was up here, right, in Jazz's absence, he did get some playing time. I know Old Sarge, who was in the chat earlier, he asked, he was saying that, well, he wasn't getting like everyday playing time, but like, let's just say he was. How do we know that he was going to, meet expectations as far as like tearing the ball off? That this is what I'm saying.
You never know that until they prove it.
But we also got to remember when they called up let's look at the Orioles. They called up Jackson Holliday. He was the number one prospect in all of baseball, right? And he got sent back down a couple of weeks later, and he was getting consistent playing time. I don't know. I mean, I looked at Jackson Holliday's numbers right now. It's all right. It's okay. There's been teams that have been calling up their prospects, to the major league roster. Are they putting up stellar numbers? The answer is no. They're not.
No,
not right now. But you got to give them time. It's going to take them time to adjust. But It's just what I'm saying is just don't expect superstar numbers right off the bat. You
And
know,
Susan, they will not DFA DJ. They
I
don't want
doubt
to
it.
money.
I don't know if they did DFA DJ. If they do, it's going to be next season.
I
There's
could
not
see.
15 left.
I could see.
Yassine wants to join the live stream.
I'm probably going to end it here soon, but next time I do an open panel, Yassine, definitely.
The stream was in the link was in the stream earlier.
I mean, hold on.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna close things out here pretty soon anyway.
Okay, so
What's up, Bill?
who's the pitchers for tomorrow?
Stroman and let's see.
Let's see. I'm just looking. Yeah, no.
What do you what are you expecting from Stroman tomorrow?
Oh, Severino. Yeah, Stroman and Severino. Yeah, those are who's pitching. My honestly, I'm if you could get 4 innings out of Stroman, I'd be happy. But I'm not, as of right now, just from using the eye test, I'm not really expecting much. I think the Yankees are gonna really rely on their bullpen tomorrow, but they're also going up against Luis Severino, who is 2-8 with a 4.83 ERA. And the last time the Yankees faced Severino, they did handle him. That's your other pup.
Oh, that's one of them. He's my male.
Yes, Susan. Yes, there is such a thing as sending Volpe down to work on the string, but the Yankees do not. The Yankees are not going to send down Volpe.
No,
even if he doesn't get another hit the rest of the year, they're too much, at least emotionally tied.
Well, who are they gonna? Well, the thing is, if you send Volpe down or you bench Volpe, who takes over for him? Peraza?
It would have to be Peraza.
And is Peraza gonna be? Is he gonna be that spark?
I don't.
Defensively, we know he could play. That's not the question. But it's just at the plate, though. Is he gonna be any better?
Well, you never know until you give the guy a chance consistently.
Yassine's asking, do I see the Angels trading Zach Neto from the Angels?
If they get a good package, probably.
Yeah.
It will all depend on the return.
Yeah.
I'd put it this way: any player is tradable if the return is good enough. There is no player that is untradeable.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. I don't know what the Yankees are going to do at the deadline. I know, a lot of fans have their wish list. They want to, there's players that they want, but we all know the Yankees go after players that we don't expect, and they go after names that we've never even heard of.
Yeah.
If there's any one, couple of guys, I mean, I would love for them to go after Eugenio Suarez, and I would love for them to go after Jake Bird from the Rockies.
I think Jake Bird should be the top of the list.
Yeah, Jake Bird throws some straight.
They desperately need a third baseman. So I think that I don't think they will be very active in the trade deadline. I think there will be small names that we're not thinking about. But I do think they have to address third base and another pitcher.
You talking about bullpen arm?
Either a bullpen or most likely a bullpen, yes.
Because I truly don't believe the Yankees are going to get a starter.
No, I don't think they need a starter.
Right.
And I think, look, if you think about this, Luis Hill is going to return next month. Getting Luis Hill back, it's essentially the same as trading for a starter.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna get. Yeah, I mean some fans feel they should go after a starter, but I don't think
I
so.
don't think a starter is necessary.
I don't think so either. But and Yassine's also adding, the Rockies will never trade their players at the trade. I mean, typically they never do. They never do. But at this point, it's like I don't see why they don't. I mean, they're the worst team in baseball. They're not going to make the postseason. That's clear as day. And I know Bill is also saying bring up Rodriguez. Listen, I love to see Rodriguez, but once again, gotta manage those expectations.
I'm sure the Rockies would trade a player if the package was good enough.
Any team would.
Because if they get a good package back for one of their players, they're going to have a bunch of young players to develop, and since they are the worst team in baseball, they need a young core to develop their team. If a guy like Bird can help them with that, they should do it. And if they don't do it, and if they have, let's just say, if they have a trade for Bird and they pull back on the last minute, even though the trade is very good, a good trade package, and they don't do it because they're not against trading Bird, then that hurts them. They're hurting themselves and their future and their fan base.
Yeah, again, it's the Rockies. I don't, I think they should be guys that they should be selling at the deadline. They should be, once again, they should sell at the deadline and get some prospects back. But I mean, who do they want, and what do they need? Like that's the biggest question. And Lou says, can we get J-Ram for Jason Volpe and some prospects? Well,
Doubt it.
they're gonna say no to Volpe. They might say yes to Dominguez, and what prospects? Because that might be a Lombard Jr.
That's gonna cost you.
Yeah,
more than,
there's no way they're gonna include Lombard Jr. for a trade for J-Ram.
They're gonna ask for Lombard Jr. in that trade. Cleveland want Lombard Jr.
And J-Ram has a no trade clause. There's also that. So keep that in mind.
I don't think as much as I would love to have him, he's not going to get moved.
If I were to trade anybody, if I were to get any player from Cleveland, I would want Quan.
Yeah, but we have a logjam in the outfield.
I understand, but we're talking about Cleveland, and this is all hypothetical. If I'm trading for any player, I would want Quan.
Yeah, Quan would be great, but again, the Yankees don't need anybody in the outfield.
And they don't need J-Ram either.
I'm not saying they need J-Ram.
The chat is.
Yeah. J-Ram would help the lineup, and it would be help to protect Judge, but you're going to cost you an arm and a leg, and plus the Yankee tax, which is real. The
Yankee tax is real. Teams are always trying to fleece the Yankees. That's why I don't always blame Cashman for standing his ground. I mean, did you hear there was Peraza for the Pirates closer, and they went at the last minute. The Pirates wanted another player, and Cashman said no.
Yes.
I mean, I know Jason put that out.
That got confirmed. A few others, even Ken was saying it. Ken even brought it up in his channel. They actually had a source on like an article that actually talked about it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the I wonder what that trade was and who it was. I mean, I
think I heard about that. It was
Peraza for the Pirates closer. I think Suarez.
Bednar.
No, it was Pereira was one, and there was a pitcher, a big time pitcher. Who's a messenger, I believe.
Oh, Zach Messenger.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Yeah, that's a prospect that the Yankees truly do value. So,
Yeah.
um,
You know, another thing that has hurt the Yankees this year is that Hampton missed a year. Hampton would
yeah,
have
that one sucked.
Hampton probably would have taken Cole's spot in the rotation immediately.
I don't know about that. He's
I don't know.
still.
Yeah, I don't know if they were gonna. I don't know if they were gonna bring him up this season. I'm not
Hampton,
so sure
yeah,
about no.
Hampton they would have.
I
If he wasn't hurt, he would be up.
I don't think so because he wasn't really in Double A for much, and you don't bring someone from high A to starting pitching in the major leagues. Unfortunate.
Hampton had Tommy John, yes.
Yeah, he had Tommy John. You know what? Susan brings up Ahmed Rosario.
Maybe.
I wouldn't. I actually wouldn't mind him. I think he would provide some sort of upgrade or spark to the lineup. Honestly, I mean Rosario could be an option. I don't know. What he on like a 1-year deal? I'd have to look him up, but I don't think they would have. I don't think they would have called up. I'm with Stephen B though. I don't think they would have called up. What's his name? Chase Hampton to the team.
I think I thought it would be Warren or Schiller, like the one we saw in double. That's in AAA now. Those are the two guys that what we saw in spring training would have been the one that replaced Cole. And Warren's done really good, even though we had a first bad month. He's really been pitching more consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yassine thinks you should play third base.
Stephen B.
I was more of an outfielder, believe it or not. I used to play right field, and I actually threw people out at first base because our second baseman always botched the ball, so I was always running in out at first, and the other team was like, "What the fuck's going on?"
That's funny. Yeah, Rosario is he would purely be a rental. He's with the Nationals. He's getting paid $2 million, so it's not an expensive contract, and he would be a free agent after the season.
I could also see a few of the real five players being traded at the deadline if we're not going to be able to put on the 40-man. I could see a scenario where we trade like 2 or 3 of them for a marginal player to upgrade the team.
Zach Messenger might be one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of like the Yankees. I'll because like I said, I'm going to end the live stream here soon. And I appreciate you boys jumping on with me. The open panels. I don't. It's always going to be a surprise and a random announcement.
I don't remember you doing one this year.
I wish he did here.
I like keeping it as a surprise. It just makes it better. I mean, in my opinion. All right. Like I'm not a person that does open panels like every.
I know. Ken likes that.
And I'm not. Yeah. However, other people want to do it, that's completely their call. But I will say this: the Yankees are in a very interesting situation. I don't think they've had this kind of I don't think that it's been like this complicated in quite a while because they have guys who's going to come up to the major league roster in the future. Who are they going to target at the deadline? I mean, there's a few names that they could look at. Spencer Jones getting promoted at AAA. Some people feel like, okay, Spencer Jones, he's breathing down Dominguez's neck. Does that mean, or does Spencer Jones get traded? Does Dominguez get traded? Now there's all these like different questions. And then going into the offseason, what's going to happen? Does Spencer Jones still get traded? Does Dominguez get traded? Or, because I'm not asking these questions. There's other people that are speculating. Now it's like there's all these people asking now. So again, the Yankees are in a very unique situation. So I think after this offseason, I think this team's still going to look a little different. If you ask me personally, I think Bellinger will exercise his player option. I do think that. I don't think Goldschmidt will be back.
No,
Honestly, there was a
I
reason
don't.
why they only. I think there was a reason why they only signed him to a 1-year deal.
I mean, here's the other option. Do you think they even look into going after Murakami?
I don't think so
I
at
don't
this
think
point.
they'll do their due diligence and check in, but I don't know. I don't see a Murakami happening.
Because
And
he played
Lou,
their base.
sure. And Lou is asking about Kyle Tucker.
I don't see that happening now.
They're gonna do their due diligence and checking on him. Are they going to could they be a team that signed? They could. They very well could. Are they going to? Who knows? I mean, the Yankee I don't see it happening, but the Yankees have pulled off surprises that we never expected.
Only reason why I say they don't want to, I don't see Tucker because he's 29 and plus. Do you really think they're going to want to? We have Jones and Dominguez. Do you really think you're going to trade them right after that? And then now they have no leverage for trading them because they know they're now blocked, so they're going to devalue their value. I really don't see Tucker as a Yankee.
No,
Yeah, I don't. And
I think
also, real quick, Jonathan, I also don't think Murakami comes because that's gonna potentially block Lombard Jr.
yes, I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna do anything to jeopardize Lombard's future.
No, they value him way too much. I think I'm pretty sure the Yankees have said that this guy, is he's an untouchable, just like Spencer Jones.
Yeah,
I'm not, again, the only way I trade Spencer Jones is if they get back a freaking a high level pitcher, an elite
I
pitcher.
told you Paul Skeens is my only choice.
Paul Skeens. Yeah, and it's gonna be more than it's gonna be more than Spencer Jones to get Paul Skeens. The Pirates, they're gonna ask for an arm and a leg.
I understand that, but that is my Skeens. That Skeens is my guy to trade if I'm getting rid of Jones.
Sure.
Only guy I could see of us giving up that, but I got to get going, NFP.
Yeah, I'm going to close things out too. But Stephen B, I do appreciate you jumping on, man. It's good to see you. I know it's been a little while. I know you've been jumping into the chat, but it's cool to see you.
Good to see you too, NFP. See you, Jonathan.
Try to do this one time before the trade deadline if you have time.
Okay. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, see you, dude. Have a good night. All right, and I'll drop you down too, Jonathan. But I do appreciate you jumping on.
As I said, if you could do another open panel just before the trade deadline, try to do it, and we can talk about it.
Sure. As we get closer, we'll see. We'll see when that comes, and then
that's up to your schedule.
That's exactly it. So I gotta play it out, and there's some other things that I want to do as well. Okay. So but yeah, Jonathan. But no, I appreciate you jumping on though, as always. So we'll see you next time, and I will go ahead and close it out. So you have yourself a good night. And folks in the chat, thank you all for tuning in. Looks like I've been live for a little over, an hour and 45 minutes almost. So almost a 2-hour live stream. Crazy. So I hope you all enjoyed the stream. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for hanging out as always. So I will be live for the play-by-play tomorrow. For the final game of the series. Let's hope the Yankees can win it. Let's hope that they do. So I will go live for the play-by-play. Pre-game, I don't know yet. Don't hold me to the pre-game. There might be a pre-game, but be on the lookout for it. So pre-game is 50-50. Play-by-play is definitely happening. So look out for that. I will definitely go live for the play-by-play, and I hope to see all of you there. And once again, thank you all for tuning in. You guys and gals are the best. Thank you to all the new subscribers. You all are great. Thank you all very much. Make sure you all hit the like button on the way out. If you're watching this on the rerun, hit the like button. Hit that subscribe button. If this is your first time watching this channel, I would greatly appreciate it. It does mean the world to me. All right, your support means the world to me. And keep sharing this channel out. Thank you all very much. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, let's go Yankees.